Alrighty, so we have two stories that I want to talk about today that I find interesting, and maybe you will find them interesting as well. Now, I know what you're asking yourself, RGT, are they both Nintendo stories? I mean, yes, they are, but I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. Like, look, what else do you want me to talk about? What's Xbox doing? Nothing? Not selling systems? What's going on with PlayStation? Oh, Soros is going to be at the Game Awards. Okay. Miss Piggy is also going to be a presenter at the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley is going to take her out on a date, and I'm not even going to go there because it's too early in the video and YouTube might demonetize it. But you know what I'm getting at. Miss Piggy, Kojima, Keighley all in the same room together. Things can get a little bit kinky, folks. But yeah, so these are two Nintendo stories. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like the video, share it around. But first, we're going to talk about a surprise game that just released on the Nintendo Switch 2, and that is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Oh, Skyrim. You know, Bethesda is right up there with Nintendo when it comes to milking stuff. It's like Rockstar, Bethesda, and Nintendo, the kings of just milking, absolutely milking the teat dry. The poor cow is like on death's door, shriveled up, but they will find a way to drain some of that milk to give it to the consumers. So the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition, a game that is very, very old, has just released for the Switch 2 out of completely nowhere. Now, there was a game on the original Switch, of course. That was a cool version of the game. It had the Breath of the Wild stuff in it. There was like a Breath of the Wild tunic and sword and shield with the Master Sword. I thought that was really cool. It does say that this is a free upgrade if you have the Switch Edition. Now, I don't know if that means like the baseline Switch Edition, which I have, or the Anniversary, because didn't the Anniversary Edition come out on the Switch? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But what does this version of the game offer? Well, it includes the base game, 3 official expansions, Dawnguard, Dragonborn, and Hearthfire, along with enhanced resolution, performance optimization, Joy-Con 2 mouse support, and much more. It also does have the Zelda stuff in there. There is Creations Club's items with quests, weapons, and more. So it's a pretty beefy thing, but like in the small print it says, please note that if you own the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition on Switch, you could download the game for free on Switch too. I don't have that. I have the original Elder Scrolls that came out on the Switch around the launch of the system, and I never upgraded to anything else because, I mean, it's just Skyrim at the end of the day. But, like, is there an upgrade path for me if I own the original, or do I have to buy the Anniversary Edition of this? I believe the retail price of this is 60 doll hairs. So if that's the case where I have to, you know, do a bunch of crap and upgrade to the Anniversary Switch Edition and then upgrade to the Anniversary Switch 2 Edition, I probably won't be doing that. I have played Skyrim across multiple platforms. I don't really feel the need to play it again. However, I do think this is a nice thing. You know, I am all for games getting upgrades on the Switch 2 that maybe didn't look and run as good as they could have on the original Nintendo Switch. The fact that this is a free upgrade if you own the Anniversary Edition is something that is very nice. Hopefully I can figure out a way. I guess let me know in the comments, like, is there an upgrade path for me? Because I'm not buying this again. And if there's an upgrade path that's like, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks or something like that, okay. You know, I'll take a look at it. But beyond that, no, thank you. No, thank you on that. But have you ever played Skyrim before? I guess there's a whole generation of people who haven't played Skyrim who are younger. Let me know in the comments section down below. Hopefully we get some more Xbox games announced for the Switch 2 since, well, nobody bought an Xbox's Black Friday season. Check out yesterday's video if you missed it, because boy, oh boy, do things just not look great for Xbox right now. But what do you think about this stealth drop? Let me know in the comment section down below. And the final thing I want to talk about is good old Metroid Prime 4, a very controversial game. I have been following people's reactions to this game on Twitter, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you are in the middle, if you like things about it and you dislike things about it, you just have no home. Because it's either people that are like, this is the best Metroid Prime ever, everyone sucks, and this is so amazing, this is the best thing ever. And then there's other people that are like, this is the worst thing ever, this game sucks completely, it's terrible, it's garbage, it's trash. But like, if you're in the middle, you're like, oh yeah, it's good. It's not great. It's good. It has really good moments, but there are some key problems and key things that I didn't like with it. You're just ostracized because both sides of the coin hate you. Now with Metroid Prime 4, of course, this is a big release for Nintendo. A game, it's been 18 years since Metroid Prime 3. Obviously, this game was in a bit of development hell. Hopefully one day we hear the story about it. I want to hear both the Bandai Namco story and the Retro Studio story, because it definitely feels like Nintendo got to a point with this game where they're like, hey, this costs us a lot of money. This is now our most expensive game ever. Get this out the door immediately. And that kind of makes sense when you look at some of the pacing things within the game. And one of the things you have to do right before you get into the final area of the game that will take you many, many hours and is not an enjoyable experience at all. However, I think Metroid Prime 4 is still a good game. Check out my review of it if you haven't yet. I have beaten the game. It took me a little under 12 hours. I don't really plan on going back to it anytime soon, but maybe in a year or so from now. But sales of the game are going to be very interesting because of the fact that this is a dual platform release. You have a Nintendo Switch 1 version of the game, and you have a Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game. Two different platforms, double the amount of success. Now, Metroid Prime games are usually sell like pretty well. Like, up until this point, the original Metroid Prime was the best-selling Metroid game of all time until Metroid Dread. But all 2D Metroids failed in comparison to Metroid Prime before Dread, so obviously Metroid as a franchise has grown. It's grown quite a bit on the Nintendo Switch. People enjoyed Dread, 2.9 million sold in a year. Very impressive stuff. Yes, Spawnwave did buy me a copy of Metroid Prime 4. It was a physical edition of the game as well. So shout outs to John for actually following through for one thing that he's promised me in life. So, it is what it is. But how are the sales looking? Well, obviously it's too early to really tell, but we did get our first data. And it is quite interesting. Now, this is involving the UK, our good old beans and toast friends over across the Atlantic Ocean. Pip, pip, cheerio. Hope you're all doing very well today. Or I guess might be tonight by the time we're watching this video. I don't understand time zones. But we did get physical sales for Metroid Prime 4 in the UK. So no digital sales are accounted for. Obviously, that is a big asterisk. But when it comes to physical sales of Metroid Prime 4 were down 15% comparative to Metroid Dread. So it's not the biggest deal in the world. However, I do have to say, it is a little bit, I wouldn't say concerning, because I don't necessarily think concerning is the right word, but it is interesting, we'll say. It is interesting because, unlike Metroid Dread, you did release on two platforms. The Nintendo Switch 2, when it comes to exclusive games, people are looking for certain titles, certain marquee titles. There's been so much hype around Metroid Prime 4 and a very vocal minority fan base of this game. But to release on two systems and be down 15% in terms of physical sales, I don't know. I always hear that Nintendo fans, because I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber, but I always hear that they like the physical games. And oh, yeah, well, we're going to buy physical games. Game key cards, evil. Give us physical games. But when a game comes out physically on two different systems, the sales are a bit down. Now, obviously, as time goes on, we'll learn more about it. People are like, oh, it's because of the negative reviews and people being negative about the game, and this is the greatest game ever. And it's like, I don't think so. I think that the review scores, the Metacritic score is valid for the game. I might even go a smidge lower than what the Metacritic score is because, there are just things that I personally did not like. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone will dislike them. I'm sure there are people that will like them, but it's a very subjective thing. But it is a little bit interesting to see that Metroid Prime 4 sales for physical versions in the UK are down 15% over Metroid Dread. Now, this is coming to us from gamesindustry.biz, I believe it was, whatever the site that Chris Dring has going on over there. Oh, he posted it on Twitter. So just, something to think about, something of a bit of discussion piece, and something to keep an eye on, because I actually thought this game was going to outsell Dread in the first year. I had this at like maybe 3.5 million, just because of the fact that there's a Switch 2 version and, of course, a Switch 1 version of the game. But I don't know, maybe I was a bit wrong on that. Time will tell with it, though. Have you been enjoying Metroid Prime 4, though? Let me know in the comments section down below. And that's what I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to let me know your thoughts about everything in the comments section down below. Are you getting Skyrim for the Switch 2, or are you done with Skyrim? I feel like we should all be done with Skyrim. But hey, Bethesda games, people just fall in love with them. And I mean, I get it. I totally get it. And Metroid Prime 4. Do you think this will outsell Dread and be the best-selling Metroid game of all time? Or do you think that there are some issues that may hold it back a bit? Let me know in the comments. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, share, hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.